Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Mullner here. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. This is Wintry edition. I do want to let you know and thank all my tropical viewers for this tropical season. Thanks for following me, subscribing me. I'm not forgetting about you. I'm still going to keep the tropical updates alive as we head through this winter. If you're in any of these tropical islands here, Central America, Gulf Coast, the Bahamas, Bermuda, the Azores, Cape Verde Islands, everything out here, I will let you know if there's any inclement weather, tropical waves. Of course, usually they don't develop this time of year because we're getting past hurricane season, but I will not forget about you. Every video segment this winter will have a tropical update segment. I can assure you that. We're also going to be looking at the possibility as we head throughout the end of the week into next week. You can see there is some tropical wave action out here. Even though there's no chance of development, it could bring some inclement weather here towards December 5th, 6th, and 7th next week. Gulf Coast looks pretty quiet here, but look at the East Coast. We're going to turn our attention to a wintry problem here. Could we be looking at some East Coast snowstorms here as we head into the first week of December? Let's get into it. So before we take a look at the European model here, I will have my tropical update a little bit later on here in a couple minutes. But there is a link in the description down below for my winter 2023-24 outlook. Also a link at the end of this video on the screen. Watch for it here. If you haven't watched it already, I go over this, what I think is going to happen this entire winter. Now let's take a look at the European model. We'll take a look at the GFS, and then we'll get into some tropics and what the prospects are for snow as well. So here it is. We're taking a look at potential low pressure tracks that could be conducive for snow as we head through the end of this week. You see a low pressure system winding up here in the Mississippi Valley. This, for the most part, is going to be rainfall. It's going to be bringing up some, pretty warm air here for this time of year, and we may have some mixed precipitation. We'll get out the GFS model here momentarily that has the precipitation depiction here, but on the northern fringe of this, usually you get these weaker systems. You got a big area of high pressure that's going to be supplying the colder air as we head through December 2nd here. So this is later on at the end of this week, heading on to the weekend. We'll take a look and see for that prospect. We do have these weak low pressure systems. You see they kind of pivot a little bit too far west here to catch up with this energy and do an energy transfer. But you see there is one starting here. And as we continue towards December 4th, there just isn't enough energy to catch up here to capture this low pressure system and throw it more back towards the coastline here. Instead, it remains more progressive and then out to sea here as we get this blocking high over northeast Canada. Now, as we continue through the rest of the European model here, you can see there it is, a big old low pressure system winding up out here. We'll have to watch. I'll show you on the GFS model here momentarily. This next piece of energy is too slow as well to catch up with this and capture this and push it back towards the coastline. It's just not happening here so far. It kind of reminds you almost like of the last couple winters. Now, this one does start to blow up. This is December 6th. But you can see we don't have a secondary low back here. So once again, it's just off the coast. It looks too far off the coast. It's too far out, though, to determine whether this system may potentially develop into something closer to the coast. It looks like at this time, it looks like Newfoundland up there will be the major point of it. But you see, for the most part, things over North America remain pretty quiet. Let's take a look at the GFS. So we'll take a look at the GFS model here. You can see high pressure building in across the east. There's our Mississippi area of low pressure system. You can see on the northern fringe here, by December 1st, this Friday, you can see some of that wintry precipitation, rain moving into the Ohio Valley into the northeast as we head on later into Friday into Saturday here. You see most of the precipitation here in southern Ontario. You could be picking up some snowfall here into southern Quebec. This system is kind of moisture starved, though, at this point. You see it kind of breaks off. You have the coastal low heading out to sea, and then this other area of energy heading up. So the distance between these two are not conducive for phasing. You see by the December 4th here, we kind of dry it out across eastern Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley. And here it is as we kick towards December 4th. You can see our next system moving across southern Ontario. Do we have a system here across the southeast? No, we don't. That's the problem. You're not going to get any phasing that way. We do get a low pressure that does try to spin up. So look at by December 5th, Any of the rain that's left over will change to snow here across parts of the Ohio Valley, Cleveland, Buffalo, Burlington, and then an area of low pressure winding up here. So you get a little bit of a lake response, but look what's going on here. This is that next area of low pressure next week. As we continue to go in time, let's see how that pinwheels. That doesn't have major energy to work with the northern stream, jet stream here. So we do start to get some snowfall. This is actually going to be pretty interesting to see the next couple model runs over the next couple days to see how this unfolds, because this model is showing snowfall across much of the Appalachians. And I did say that this winter in my 2023-24 outlook that the Appalachians were going to see much above average, 20 to 30%. Now look, you don't have a big area of energy back here to push this low more towards the coastline. So we get into December 6th here, you still see some snow holding back there across Ohio, West Virginia. But at this point, you see the low bombing out here as it heads well out to sea and off towards Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. And we do have another Clipper tiles type system here across central Canada. That's going to be bringing snowfall here to central and southern Canada. That kind of heads towards the Great Lakes as we head towards December 9th and 10th. It completely weakens and fizzles out for the most part. And we do start to see a system here along the Gulf Coast try to start to take shape here. And as we continue to go in time, this is December 10th, 11th, 12th, we have that northern stream branch trying to energize. What happens here? It dives across the eastern Gulf here, but it really doesn't get going. And then we got our northern jet stream here trying to produce a low pressure system. So over the next couple weeks, I don't see any like really big storms that could affect a large swath areas with snowfall or wintry precipitation. But, you know, things can change, especially, you know, as we continue to head into closer to the official start of winter. As we head towards December 13th, this is a little interesting feature, a little far out, but it is interesting to take a look at this. You see an area of low pressure off of North Carolina with an area of energy across the Ohio Valley and eastern Great Lakes. If these two were to phase together, this might actually come together for something. And, you know, the indicators have been pushing towards the mid-December for when we have a better chance that some of these snowstorms could get going. So how about our lake effect event here? Let's just zoom in here to the eastern Great Lakes. You can get a good idea. Lake effect snow will be lifting northeast of Cleveland towards Erie and Buffalo as we head throughout the overnight into the early morning hours of Wednesday. So what's going on here is the winds will start to veer again out of the west-southwest here. We get that next system coming down more like a clipper. This will eventually throughout the day be shutting off the lake effect snow. It will be turning more into a synoptic-based snow. So maybe a couple inches across southern Ontario, western New York, northern New York here into southern Quebec as well. So you see that continuing as we head throughout the evening hours on Wednesday and into Thursday. Look at that. High pressure building in. Might eke out a very nice day here across the Ohio Valley into the northeast. The next system will be brewing here across Texas. You can see the snow back across the Four Corners region here. Let's just back this up here. You can see as we head throughout Wednesday into Thursday here, especially Wednesday night and Thursday. Here's Thursday morning. Rain and thunderstorms cranking up across San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, and look at that. Yeah, it's going to be a very stormy day here, especially across central and eastern Texas as we head throughout noon hour here on Thursday. As we head into the northeast here, there is with your lake effect snow totals here off of the east end of Lake Erie, Lake Ontario. At this point, you know, as we head throughout, you know, early Wednesday there, that's where the snowfall, an additional 2 to 4 inches in those favored areas. But look at that. That shuts off Thursday. And then our next system, this is for like later in the day on Friday. This is an interesting feature. We're showing up close to 4 inches here in parts of southern Michigan through the Detroit area. This will have to be monitored and watched. We could see some wet snow, you know, piling on top here as well. So something we'll have to keep a close eye on. So for late Tuesday night into early Wednesday and Wednesday afternoon, we're looking at additional accumulations here south of Buffalo, east of Dunkirk, upwards of 6 inches here, right near and just east of the Jamestown area, south of Syracuse here, looking at 6 to 8 inches additional, and in eastern Oswego County as well. So here's our liquid equivalent precipitation here on the European model. This as we head through Saturday. Takes us through about 90 hours here. You can see most of the precipitation here across the Mississippi Valley, eastern Texas. We get upwards of a half an inch, or I should say an inch and a half, upwards to 2.5, close to 3 inches of rain, especially northeast Texas, Louisiana here. Here's a more stratiform rainfall that will be following mainly Friday night, and Saturday here across parts of the Ohio Valley and into the northeast. You'll get upwards of 3/4, maybe close to 1 inch in some of these areas. Look at the west coast here, especially the Pacific Northwest, getting well over 3 inches in some of these areas. So let's take a look at snowfall here. They're down east of Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, all these Great Lakes. And then as we head towards, look at this. This is actually later Friday afternoon into the evening hours. We might see some overrunning precipitation there across southern Michigan, parts of upstate New York, northern New York there, southern Ontario. You might pick actually up a couple inches of wet snow. Look at the Intermountain West, though. This is where you're going to hit the jackpot from the Cascades here. Eastward into the Rocky Mountains. Four Corners region, I said this winter you would hit the jackpot. There you go. And I wanted to make one note up here. Look at across eastern Canada. That's a lot of snow up there. You're going to continue to pile on the snow, upwards of 6 to 12 plus inches. Now let's take a look at the GFS. We'll just go out long term here, see if there's anything the GFS is showing. I know it's not really accurate this far out, but it's always interesting to see the trend. Oh, look at that. Mid-December. Yeah. Eastern Canada really getting buried, but look what starts to happen here into parts of especially the interior northeast here. And lots of snow to be had out here out west. So do we have any cold air outbreaks coming anytime soon? Well, these are marginally cold, at or just below freezing here as we continue to go throughout the rest of the week into, and this is mostly during the night. You can see during the day, the darker bluey warm well above freezing here. And we only have some areas of the United States, you can see by the end, the early part of next week, that are at or below freezing. So most of the regions here are running way above average. You can see way up here into Canada. This is where all the cold air is really bottled up. You see a little bit of an intrusion here into part of eastern Canada as we continue to just progress this. Look at this. We don't start to see any cold air intrusions, any major ones. And I don't know, you can't really call this that major, but it might be enough if it meets up with an East Coast snowstorm. This is by December 14th. So let's start off with the European model here for your tropical update. Looks pretty quiet. Look at the southwestern Gulf. This is actually that tail end of the front. It is showing up on the GFS. I'll show you momentarily. I don't expect this to develop at all. Obviously, this time of year, the wind shear is very, very hostile. But it is interesting to take a look. Yeah, you're going to be pretty dry for the most part. You are heading into your dry season here across the Caribbean. Your eyes get turned to what's going on out here. The intertropical convergence zone is actually still pretty far to the north for this time of year. I would have expected it to kind of sink a little bit, although you do see how this tropical wave out here towards December 5th is, you can tell it's undergoing some wind shear here just by the shape of it, and how it's really trying to hold on for dear life out here. It's really trying to regenerate itself. I do expect some showers to make it into parts of the Lesser Antilles as we head towards December 7th and 8th here. We do have a front just to the north here, so let me just zoom in here on the Eastern Caribbean. Look at the Bahamas, look beautiful up here this time of year though. It's getting into where you'll see those high pressure systems. And you do get behind some of these fronts too, so that humidity will be on the decrease here as you see that front sinking across the island of Hispaniola. Puerto Rico still ahead of the front here, so you see some showers. And then look at this tropical wave does start making it here into the Lesser Antilles as we get towards December 8th. So rainfall will be picking up. Now let's see if it looks similar here on the GFS for your tropical update. In fact, I'm going to make sure this is the composite because we're not going to have any snow or wintry precipitation here across the Atlantic. So here's your Caribbean islands. It's still looking a bit cloudy, a bit showery. You get those trade winds out of the east here. It does start to look drier as we head into next weekend here. The Gulf coastline here, the Gulf of Mexico, that's where you're going to see that tail end of that front. So obviously you're going to see clouds, lots of showers and thunderstorms. But as we continue to go out here in time, the GFS, at least through December 4th, looks pretty quiet here across the tropics. Now, here's what the European was picking up on. Here's that tropical wave here approaching the Lesser Antilles, showing up a little more prominent here on the GFS, and that continues towards the west. So if you're in the Lesser Antilles, it does, interesting, the GFS kind of picking it up towards the north here. You know, wind shear is a thing much bigger this time of year. So the GFS kind of indicating that this is going to be sheared apart a little bit towards the north here, heading towards the Virgin Islands, and then eventually making it we get some shower and thunderstorm activity here towards December 7th. Maybe not getting as far south as Trinidad and Tobago. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Look at the tail end of this front here, getting into parts of Dominican Republic and Haiti here. Maybe not as far south as Jamaica, though. But you are heading into your dry season here as we head into the Caribbean. So look at this. This tropical wave, does it even make it into the Caribbean? No, it looks like it gets sheared apart and then absorbed into this trough in this front up here to the north. So as we take a total liquid equivalent precipitation here from Central America across the Caribbean here, yeah, here we go in millimeters. It doesn't, wow, it looks pretty dry. I mean, I'm so used to seeing this, even here into Central America. Yeah, you'll see the standard garden variety showers and thunder showers, but you're not amounting to any more than 40 or 50 millimeters here, 1.5 inches, 2 inches. Look at even Jamaica is really dry, the Cayman Islands. Island of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, very little rainfall. Now, look at here across the southern part of the Bahamas here. As we head into, say, the Turks and the Caicos here, that's where you're going to be seeing rainfall upwards of, say, you know, you may get upwards of 16, maybe 22, 25, 28 millimeters here. That'll push you towards 3/4 to 1 inch possible. And as we head towards the Lesser Antilles, I did not want to leave you out here. That next tropical wave, as we head through the weekend, may bring some showers here. It's not going to be that heavy, upwards of 13 to 26 millimeters here. That'll get us upwards, especially the east-facing shores here, upwards of close to maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. So this lake effect snow event this past 24 to 36 hours, you can see Robert Stone here from the Dunkirk area showing off his Christmas lights. And what you can see here, there's the road out here. Look at the snow piling up here. And as you can see earlier in the day, look at this video that he captured. The snow was really starting to come down across the Dunkirk area. You can see the snow. Those are some pretty big flakes you can see as well, but the visibility being reduced here. Those snow-covered roads looking a lot like Christmas. And look at this nice snapshot. You can see, look at this, the road's almost covered. And you can see this was the beginning of the storm. You can see how it's created a bit of a dusting earlier in the day as things really started to pick up as we continued throughout the day. So nice captures there, Robert. So let's take a look at our CFS medium range climate model. We'll get an idea as we head into the weekend. You can see plenty of ridging here across the east. That's with those warmer than average temperatures. We do have an area of blocking up here in Greenland. That's going to start to give way to that ridge out west, and we see that trough here in the east. This is as we head towards December 7th. So as I said before, time and time again, I think we're going to see the stormiest weather as we head towards mid-December. You can see that trough really riding out here across the east. It still is a very fast-moving pattern, though, so you can't really get those long, drawn-out, stalling East Coast snowstorms for this kind of thing. But you can see as we head throughout the rest of December here, there seems to be an equal amount of ridging as there is troughing here along the U.S. East Coast. So it's something we'll have to keep an eye on. I still think the pattern remains very, very robust until look at as we get towards the end of the month. This is where we start to see that classic pattern that those of you that like snow in the east especially like to see. And we're going to see it really get stormy and ramp up here as that big blocking, you know, the negative NAO index we talk about, that looks like it'll really be headed south below zero as we head towards the end of December. Now, I wanted to go out here into the Western Pacific because this is where a lot of our weather comes from. And, you know, the stronger storms you get out here, a lot of times that corresponds to stronger storms along the U.S. East Coast with more troughiness. So let's go out here. I know it's a little bit difficult to see. Look how stormy it is out here. This is Japan. by the way. Look at how much snow you're getting up here, especially the higher elevations of northern Japan and central Japan out here. Look at this big bomb here of a low pressure system across the Aleutian Islands. And as we head towards the rest of the week into December, look what's going on here. It does start to quiet up here across Eastern Asia and Japan. But look at these big low pressure systems bombing and blasting up through the Gulf of Alaska. That is what you typically want to see. If you want East Coast snowstorms, look at all this storminess up here into parts of the Western Pacific and then up into the Aleutian Islands and Gulf of Alaska. And don't go anywhere. I have plenty more weather in just a moment, but check out my affiliate here. Here are some awesome maps.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
So temperature-wise here, Wednesday, look at this. The cold areas here across the Rocky Mountains and the Northeast and parts of the Ohio Valley, Eastern Great Lakes, 30s. You know, that's typical this time of year, but things will be warming up behind this. Look as we head towards Thursday here. That next system heading across the Mississippi Valley is going to be pushing that warm air up. Look at this cold pool of air. Let's see what happens as we go out here in time. See if that actually spills towards, oh, we don't have data there. There's December 1st. Got it back here Friday. TGIF, look at this. There's that. Look at the 50-degree line here. That's pretty remarkable. For this far north this time of year, things could be a lot worse. You still just a cold around the edges here as we head into Saturday. You know, this is not cold at all. We're well above average here, actually. 40s and 50s up here into the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic. And look at here along the Gulf Coast. It's staying rather toasty in the 70s for most areas here. That's kind of crazy. I don't see any large-scale areas of, you know, cold air blasts here as well. Look at that. That's not actually very impressive if you want snow, but this only takes us out to December 4th. Extended outlook from hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania. Yeah, we'll get a few more snow showers throughout Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Nothing more than, say, a half an inch of snow. That will be a fading memory on Wednesday. Mostly cloudy conditions heading up towards the mid-30s into Thursday. As a warm front pushes in from the southwest, we'll see highs approaching the upper 40s. It'll feel like a heat wave into your Friday. Showers will be likely with the next system moving in from the Ohio Valley. Warmer as well, mid to high 40s into Saturday. Still looking a little bit drier, maybe a few scattered showers in the morning, but for the most part, it should stay mostly dry 45 into Sunday. Yeah, a chance of showers developing later in the day, heading up towards 50. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Don't forget, my winter 2023-24 outlook is in a link in the description down below, also appearing right in front of you on the screen as well. So check that out. Facebook, MeteoMark. Twitter at Weather Eastern, also Facebook Weather Northeastern and Hurricane Northeastern. Thanks for joining me. And don't forget, check out my affiliate link at Trilogy Maps below.